Today's top stories. Malacanang reiterates the benefits of the passage of the rice tariffication law for farmers. Malacanang maintains Rappler CEO Maria Ressa will not receive special treatment even as she avails of her freedom of expression. The latest SWS survey showing a perceived decrease in the number of drug pushers is credited to the government's war on drugs. And the DENR is transforming the Tullahan River as a tributary of Manila Bay into a transport route.
Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Moroto.
And I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte has signed the rice tariffication bill into law, allowing more rice imports to enter the country.
Malacanang reiterates the law will lower food prices, protect farmers, and improve competition. More on this from Rom Dulfo.
With the signing of the rice tariffication law last week, Malacanang reiterates farmers will benefit from it. Panalo says the rice tariffication law is expected to help cushion the impact of inflation for the benefit of consumers. Because of more imports, prices are expected to become competitive. Panelo says the law protects farmers from this emerging competition through a direct safety net and productivity support in the form of a 10 billion peso rice competitiveness enhancement fund. For his part, ANAC IP Party List Representative Jose Panganiban Jr., who chairs the House Agriculture Committee, says the rice fund should be used properly, such as the provision of machinery, equipment, seed production, and training on rice farming. A portion of the fund would also be made available for farmers and cooperatives in the form of a credit facility with minimal interest and minimum collateral requirements. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Malacanang welcomes the latest social weather station survey showing majority of Filipinos believe there are now fewer drug users in their area. The latest SWS survey show that 66% of Filipinos claim that the number of drug addicts in their area has decreased over the past year. The survey also found that 87% believe it is important for the police to capture suspects alive. In a statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the favorable survey result is a validation of the success of the campaign against illegal drugs of President Duterte's administration. Panelo called on the critics of the administration to listen to the people and see the government's anti-drug efforts for themselves.
The Department of Health says there had been an improvement in the vaccine hesitancy among parents during the agency's continuous immunization drive against measles. DOH Director Corazon Flores says more mothers are lining up in health centers to have their children vaccinated. About 100,000 have so far availed of vaccination. Health Secretary Francisco Duque says he is happy to see parents changing their view on the DOH immunization program.
The Philippine National Police commended another fisherman for reporting to authorities the brick of cocaine he found floating off the waters of Camarines Norte. PNP spokesperson Bernard Banac says fisherman Norly Laudiana Soriano turned over the brick of cocaine to local police. Banac says the brick of cocaine was found at around 3 in the morning near the shoreline of Barangay Bagumbayan in Paracale, Camarines Norte. The cocaine, weighing nearly a kilogram, had an estimated street value of 5.2 million pesos. Banac urged the public not to be blinded by the bribes of drug lords and report drug-related activities to authorities.
The Philippine Red Cross prepares additional medical tents to prevent the spread of measles, and motorcycle riders urge candidates to uphold their rights and safety. More on these and other news around the metro from Rom Dulfo.
The Philippine Red Cross is set to add more emergency field medical tents in Quezon City and Caloocan to respond to the growing number of measles patients. The Red Cross earlier installed 20-bed and 50-bed emergency medical units in 2 hospitals in Manila following the declaration of the measles outbreak. Meanwhile, the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos has set the deadline for registration for this year's Hajj or pilgrimage to Mecca on March 20. The NCMF says pilgrims are expected to pay their Hajj fees such as Mutawif or Hajj guide and airfare worth about 167,000 pesos. This year's fees are lower by nearly 30,000 pesos from last year through the efforts of the Duterte administration and the Royal Embassy of Saudi Arabia in the Philippines. In other news, motorcycle clubs urged candidates in this year's elections to address their rights as part of their platform. Don Pangan, spokesman of Riders of the Philippines, said they will be supporting bets that will push for their agenda in Congress. These include the Motorcycle Road Safety Act and legalization and regulation of motorcycle taxis. Covenant signing between motorcycle riders and candidates were witnessed by the Land Transportation Office or LTO, PNP Highway Patrol Group, and Metro Manila Development Authority or MMDA. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Still to come, the palace maintains that arrested Rappler CEO Maria Ressa will not receive special treatment even as she avails of her freedom of expression. The Philippine Post Office assures no contraband has slipped through them in Davao City. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Mga kababayan, dumadami ang kaso ng tigdas at ang komplikasyon nito ay mamatay ka. Sa mga anak natin, bakuna lamang ang tanging paraan makaiwas sa sakit na to. Maraming salamat. Mga kaigsuonan kong Pilipino, nagkadaghan ang kaso sa tipdas o ang komplikasyon ani mamatay ka. Pabakuna ang inyong mga anak kontra tipdas, makalingkawas ang lawas sa sakit. Daghang salamat.
Malacanang maintains that Rappler CEO Maria Ressa continues to enjoy press freedom, the same right she proclaims to have been violated with her arrest. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says Ressa is using her freedom of expression and the press, which disproves her accusations of persecution by the government. Panelo says Ressa is claiming to have lost her rights because she has been asking for special treatment. But nobody is above the law, and the freedom of the press does not entitle her to privileges.
PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar challenged foreign observers to see for themselves the state of press freedom in the country. This as former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright claims press freedom is not respected in the Philippines. Andanar says critics have yet to personally experience the state of media workers in the country and that he understands how the New York Times learned about Ressa's arrest given her influence in the international community as a former CNN anchor. He says critics should not base their opinion solely on what they hear or what they have been told.
Manila Water has intensified its campaign toward proper waste management as it rolled out its used water master plan. Manila Water says this is to ensure full sewerage service coverage at the East Zone areas. More than 115 billion pesos is allocated in the project as part of its contribution to rehabilitate Manila Bay. The sewage treatment plants to be built for these system projects are designed to collect and treat up to almost 950 million liters per day of wastewater by 2037.
The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, ordered the conduct of an ecosystem research to extend the life of the Benguet pine tree species in Baguio City. DENR Secretary Roy Cimatu says he ordered an inventory of pine trees in the city so the agency can take steps to protect them. He says Baguio is losing its pine trees, which is the city's trademark feature. Aside from its cold weather, pine trees make Baguio unique among other tourist destinations. Aside from ecosystem research, Cimatu will also be sending scientists specializing in landslides and climate change to conduct the research and to come up with measures during calamities.
Candidates in Bataan sign a peace covenant for the coming elections. Meanwhile, PhilPost assures no contraband has entered Davao City. More on this and other stories from the provinces from Miguel Hill.
In Balanga, Bataan, local candidates signed a peace covenant for honest and peaceful elections at the St. Joseph's Cathedral. Candidates in each of Bataan's 11 towns and 1 city signed the Integrity Pledge boards and vowed to follow the law and respect the sanctity of the election. The event was sponsored by the Bataan Police, the Philippine Army, Commission on Elections, and the Parish Pastoral Council for Responsible Voting. In Batangas, the Provincial Veterinary Office has ordered for the strict implementation of measures to avoid the entry of African swine fever in the province. The provincial government is inspecting livestock farms and informing hog raisers and agricultural workers about the disease. Other measures include quarantines, checkpoints, and foot mats in airports and ports like Batangas International Port to prevent smuggling and contamination. In Davao City, the Philippine Postal Corporation assures that no contraband has entered the city. PhilPost made the assurance following the recent discovery of shipments of illegal drugs, and precautionary measures are in place to prevent the entry of parcels that may be used to smuggle contraband. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Up next, the DNR eyes transforming the Tullahan River as a tributary of Manila Bay into a transport route. A soldier in Mindanao reminds us that Valentine's Day goes beyond expressions of romantic love. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Sasakay na ako sa tamang sakayan. Maging maaga para makaiwas ng traffic. Bababa po ako sa tamang babaan.
Agahan yung pagpila sa mga bilahan para mas mabilis tayo makasakay.
Masusundin ko yung mga batas trapiko, tapos mas papanatilihin ko yung kondisyon ng sasakyan ko.
Maayos ang mga pasilidad ng mga MRT na sinasakyan namin para komportable naman yung mga senior citizen.
Pagdami pa ng mga bus, lalo na yung mga bus na bumabiyahe sa papuntang Provincial.
Siguro ginagawa naman Department of Transportation yung trabaho nila. Kaso nga lang minsan yung implementation, hindi enforcement din yung problema minsan.
Kasi pag sumasakay ako ng MRT, minsan sobrang init, tsaka siksikan talaga. So sana yung aircon nila mas maayos, tsaka mas madagdagan pa.
Pag maayos nang hindi masyadong matraffic, mga lumang sasakyan, hindi na siya patakboy sa kalsada.
Sa sobrang dami sumasakay sa MRT, siguro mas kailangan pa natin na mas madaming tren na magagamit, saka yung pila sana sa MRT mas mapabilis pa natin.
The DENR says once the Tullahan River is cleaned up, it can be developed as an alternative transport route for people and goods to ease traffic on Metro Manila streets. Tullahan River flows from Quezon City to the cities of Valenzuela and Malabon before discharging into Manila Bay. DENR Undersecretary Jonas Leones says the river can be used for transporting people and goods similar to the waterways in Venice, Italy, Singapore, and in Thailand. The DENR has set the dredging of the Tullahan River beginning this year to remove silt and trash that accumulated over the years. The debris continues to pollute water, reducing water carrying capacity and impeding water flow.
The Working Group on Enforced or Involuntary Disappearances, or WGEID, lauds the Philippine government as it clarified the reported cases of desaparecidos in the country. WGEID Chairman Bernard Duhaime says the government is not only facing the challenges but doing a great deal to address the cases. The Philippines has commenced work to clarify cases of enforced and involuntary disappearances, which were mostly attributed to government forces between 1975 and 2012.
In sports, Dave Peñalosa remains undefeated as he captures the WBO Oriental Featherweight title. Peñalosa scored a technical knockout win against Mexican Marcos Cardenas in the title bout at the SM City North EDSA Sky Dome. The 27-year-old boxer from Cebu took down Cardenas twice in the fourth round. Peñalosa tallied his 15th win with 11 knockouts, while Cardenas suffered his 7th loss in 26 fights. Meanwhile, John Riel Casimero brutally punished Japanese Kenya Yamashita for a 6th-round knockout victory. Ifugao native Carl James knocked out Petchorhe Kokitjim in the 4th round to remain undefeated in 12 fights with 11 knockouts. Carlo Peñalosa, on the other hand, finished Watana Penbaan in the 3rd round for his 14th win against 1 defeat.
For the men and women in the armed forces of the Philippines, Valentine's Day is spent like a normal day at work.
However, the duties they perform for the people are expressions of love in their own way. Joyce Kudis has the story.
Valentine's Day is the time for romantic dinner dates and bouquets of flowers all over the metro. However, it is a different story for these on-duty government troops in Zamboanga Peninsula. February 14 started like any ordinary day for Lieutenant Marcos and his men who were patrolling the outskirts in the Western Mindanao Command. Assigned in a remote location, they find the word detachment quite fitting, away from their social life and their love life. But sadness is not evident in the eyes of these soldiers, who look forward to securing the safety of their community that's pestered with rebels and in threat of attacks. While patrolling the area, they witness an ongoing immunization program where parents and children are delighted as the medicines, despite the rough roads and other rebellious threats, actually reach the area. Marcos said scenarios like that make their Valentine celebration sweeter. They would muse about how it would feel being with their loved ones on special occasions like this, but are later relieved knowing that their efforts make these people happy. Marcos and his mates share the feelings of every trooper around the country as they forego the comforts of city life, including the feeling of being in the arms of their family just to fulfill their duty. For him and every member of the military, their sacrifice and dedicated effort is in itself an act of love. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Joyce Kudis.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's top stories.
Malacanang reiterates the benefits of the passage of the rice tariffication law for farmers. Malacanang maintains Rappler CEO Maria Ressa will not receive special treatment even as she avails of her freedom of expression. The latest SWS survey showing a perceived decrease in the number of drug pushers is credited to the government's war on drugs. And the DENR is transforming the Tullahan River as a tributary of Manila Bay into a transport route.
And in today's Boses ng Masa, should students who join anti-government rallies be disqualified from their scholarships? Pia, how do you feel about
How do
this
you feel
issue?
about it?
Well, for me, it's anything that disrupts from general peace, I think, should be addressed accordingly, because that's what we're trying to achieve from all levels, whether you're working, whether you're a student. I think the security of a nation comes from when there's peace.
That's a really good point, Will. And all institutions, whether you are in the workplace or at school or at university, every single institution upholds a certain standard.
Right.
Right? So I think, in my opinion, it should be the students who obey these standards or go along these standards as well. So if the government is paying for their scholarships and part of the standards of any university is for them not to take part, then perhaps there is reason for them to be stripped off scholarships.
Okay, and this is coming from a teacher. Okay, so let's watch this feature in our Boses ng Masa.
Hindi, kung nararapat naman kung mali naman ang pinaglalaban nila, pwede siyang tanggalan.
I believe na hindi naman po pwede na siya basta-basta tatanggalan. Una sa lahat, sila ay dapat pakinggan, lalo na yung mga kabataan sa ngayon. Kasi sila ang nagbibigay ng isang pahiwatig na kailangan mayroong pagbabago. Kasi sila naglalahad ng mga problema sa kasalukuyang hinaharap ng mga estudyante. Maging ito may pang elementary, maging high school man o kaya college man. Ito ay dapat pakinggan ng gobyerno.
Hindi. Kasi freedom of speech naman nila yun. Yun lang.
For me, hindi. Kasi yung mga estudyante na yun, mayroong mga pinaglalaban. Meron silang mga sariling opinion. Meron tayong freedom of expression. So sila, malaya sila na pahiyag sa government kung ano yung mga nasa loobin nila o hinanakit nila. Yun, parte siya ng demokratiko natin na yun.
No, hindi pabor natanggalin yung scholarship. Kasi paano na yung mga mahirap, di ba? Kawawa naman pag tanggalin yung
Pagkaya ko dapat tanggalan. Kasi binibigyan sila ng pabor eh. Tapos hindi naman lang binibigay yung pabor na kailangan ng gobyerno.
Parang simpleng lang, lagay mo sa malit na yung tatay, pinagpaaral mo yung anak. Tapos yung anak, binigay na sa'yo lahat eh. Tapos bakit ka against dun sa mo? So yun lang, parang ako ayoko wag sila mag-rally, di ba?
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter.
For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites.
And that's your daily dose of the latest news
and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo.
And I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.